Hey guys, this is Danny from Danny Rod Gaming, bringing you some more content on my Speedroid-Crystal Beast deck list, this time with some test hands. Now, in the last video, I just showed you my deck profile on Speedroids with the Crystal Beast and Wind Witches. But just in case you're wondering how can this deck even play, I'm about to show you. I'm just going to do a few test hands here, so let's go ahead and give this deck a good shuffle. And then we'll see what we can do. One thing to keep in mind though is that even though there's a lot of wind monsters in this deck, there's also a lot of cards. So getting a very, very bad hand is a high possibility. However, there's also a high possibility of getting very, very good hands. It is just that trade-off. However, the point of this deck is to have a lot of fun with it. So let's see what we can get out of it. So first hand we are going to get is a Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon, Marble Machine, Monster Reborn, Kashtira Unicorn, and a Speedroid Daiko Duke. Now off of this, immediately the first thing you can do is you can special summon the Kashtira Unicorn. This will make it so your opponents think twice about hand trapping you if they don't want to lose their some monsters from their extra deck. Off of that, we can then go ahead and proceed to normal summon our Speedroid Marble Machine, which will allow us to search for a Speedroid monster from our deck. That monster will be Speedroid Take Tomborg. Now, off of Take Tomborg, we do have a Daiko Duke in our hand. However, we can go ahead and proceed to special summon our Take Tomborg. And off of Take Tomborg, we're going to go ahead and tribute it. And we're going to special summon from our deck. We have two choices. We can special summon Piper and hope to draw into another card, or we can just go straight into our red-eyed dice, special summon it, and use its effect to target Speedroid Marble Machine. If we are going to do that, we can make Marble Machine a level 6 in order to go ahead and synchro summon into one of our level 7s. Preferably, we can go into our Wind Pegasus at Ignister. Then we can use our Monster Reborn to bring back our red-eyed dice, and then synchro summon those two off into a Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. Most likely you want to put it in defense if you want to try and play around that Lightning Storm, but usually I'll put it in attack because that's the whole point behind Crystal Wing. All right, so this would be our possible first hand that we can get with what we drew into this first test hand. So let's go ahead and give another try. Keep in mind that every hand is always going to be different. Every single combo is going to be different, which makes this deck very difficult to play and also very difficult to predict how to play against. So let us see what we can draw. And as you saw, drawing that Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon really can be a bummer, as well as drawing that Duke, which is why you don't want to play that many copies of either of those. So let us see what we get in this next test hand. We'll get a Berry Statue, we'll get a Piper, we'll get a Wind Witch, Rainbow Bridge of the Heart, and a Terra Top. All right, this is a very, very good hand. We got a lot of options here to play with. First off, we can, if you would like to go for the Crystal Beast route, you can just go for the Wind Witch Ice Spell. However, if you wish to Barrier Statue your opponent, then what you can do to make sure that your Barrier Statue is protected, we can go ahead and special summon our Speedroid Terra Top. This will allow us to search for our Take Tomborg. Take Tomborg will then allow us to special summon it, tribute it, and special summon our red-eyed dice, which we can then use to make our Terra Top into a level 2 monster, and special summon our, synchro summon our Cork Shooter. Off of Cork Shooter, instead of bringing back Terra Top and our red-eyed dice, we can search for a spell or trap. In this case, we will search for our Speedroid Duplicate, which we can then set, and then a normal summon our Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds. This will prevent our opponents from special summoning non-wind monsters. If they, so long as they don't negate Bear Statue of the Stormwinds, you have a way to protect it using your Speedroid Duplicate. You can banish your target Tomborg and just bounce whatever tries to attack into it, ensuring that you have a play for next turn. However, let's try to see what we can get with our Wind Witch instead. I'm sure most of you who've played Wind Witch before will know where this is going to be going, so let's just give this a try. So we would go ahead and special summon our Wind Witch Ice Spell, most likely in defense. Along with her effect to special summon herself, she'll special summon another Wind Witch from the deck. In this case, it will be our Glass Bell. From this point on, you will chain link one Glass Bell, chain link two Ice Bell to burn your opponent. And then off of the search, you will get a Snow Bell. With Snow Bell, you can then special summon her in defense. Then you can normal summon your Terror Top and search off. Actually, no. Don't normal summon Terror Top. You have Piper in your hand. Summon Piper, and Piper's effect will then activate. This will allow you to excavate 3 cards from the top of your deck. So let's see what we get. We get a Card Turbo, we get a Recovery, and then we get a Cobalt Eagle. Oddly enough, you can actually add Cobalt Eagle to your hand because we have Rainbow Bridge of the Heart in our hand, and you can make plays with it. From here on, we're gonna go ahead and synchro summon into our Wind Pegasus Ad Ignister, which we will then go ahead and synchro using our Snow Bell into a Crystal Wing that cannot be destroyed by card effects. From this point, you can go ahead and use Rainbow Bridge of the Heart and use its effect, popping your Cobalt Eagle from the hand in order to search for a Crystal Bond. With your Crystal Bond now in play, you can go ahead and play it. And you can search for your, place your Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon and add your Sapphire Pegasus to your hand. Now, because you do have your Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon in your Spell and Trap Zone, we want to go ahead and use it. We don't want to really be drawing into a Rainbow Dragon on our next turn, so we're going to use the effect, special summon our Crystal Beast Sapphire Pegasus. And if you would like, you can go into a level 8 synchro with Kite Drake, thus ensuring that if your monsters do get destroyed, you can still get some recursion off of Kite Drake. Just make sure not to destroy the board. Since you are locked into level 5 or higher synchro monsters, we cannot go into our Rubber Band Shooter in order to extend our plays further. However, from this point, you could go ahead and normal summon Pegasus and use its effect, and you can place another Pegasus in the Spell and Trap Zone, just in case you do want to get another search for the next turn. You do have Rainbow Dragon in your hand now, so you can look for Awakening of the Crystal Ultimates. All right, let's do another test hand here and see what we can get. But that is how you can incorporate the Crystal Beasts into your possible combos. Granted, that's not the best combo that you could do. However, it is simply an example of how you can use the Crystal Beasts to help you in this deck. Let us go ahead and do another test hand and see what we get. Hopefully we do not get a brick, as it is a very unfortunate time whenever we do get a brick, so we don't really want to see one. So let's go ahead, simulate your opponent cutting your deck, and then draw a new hand of 5. Here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We drew 3 small worlds. Okay, let us see what we can do here. The good thing is we have plenty of Ash Bait in Rainbow Bridge as well as our Marble Machine, but the first thing you want to use is definitely your Rainbow Bridge. Off of that, you will go ahead and add a Crystal Bond into your hand, as Crystal Bond will allow you to basically keep going in your plays by placing a Rainbow Dragon as well as adding a Sapphire Pegasus to your hand that you can use later. However, since you do have a Crystal Beast Sapphire Pegasus, you can actually go ahead and try a Small World with it. If you do Small World with your Sapphire Pegasus, the target of choice at this point would end up being, since you will have a Rainbow Dragon in your hand, you do not want to use Droll and Lockbird just yet. So we'll go off of Kashtira Unicorn, And then off of Unicorn, we can go ahead and add our Terror Top, or we can even go ahead and add our Wind Witches if you want to go for the Wind Witch line of play. However, in this case, I will be going for the Terror Top. I'll go ahead and add Terror Top to my hand, and these two cards will be getting banished. I will then special summon Terror Top and use its effect to search for a Tomborg. At this point on, I'll go ahead and use Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon's effect to special summon a Sapphire Pegasus and add a Rainbow Dragon to my hand. We can then go ahead and normal summon our Marble Machine and use the effect to search for a Speedroid, which in this case will be a Car Turbo. We can then special summon our Car Turbo since we have wind monsters on the field, and then special summon our Tomborg. Off of Tomborg, we contribute it to special summon from the deck another tuner, and that tuner in this case, because we have a lot of monsters on the field, we can go for our Fuki Modoshi Piper. Piper will allow us to dig further into our deck to try and get cards that we need, so we will declare its effect, and we will excavate 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. These cards will be Dice, Pegasus, Monster Reborn, and Rainbow Bridge of the Heart. There it is, the card we want. So we will add Rainbow Bridge of the Heart to our hands, and we will send the rest to the bottom of our deck. From this point on, we can go ahead and synchro summon. We can synchro summon using our Piper and Marble Machine into Stardust Charge Warrior, and to, in effect, get another card. We'll draw a card off of it. Ooh, and we get a Speedroid Wheel, which we can use, actually use. But from there, we are going to go ahead and synchro summon off with these two into our Stellar Windwolf Ryette. As we want to start putting up disruptions on the board, we can then go ahead and use Speedroid Wheel pitching Small World and see what we get off of our roll. We got a 4. So off of a 4, we can actually go into a Dice and a Duke, which is a very, very, very good die roll. We can then go ahead and activate our Rainbow Bridge of the Heart, and we can use this effect to pop our Pegasus. Unfortunately, it does not have effect, so it will not go to our back row. However, we can go ahead and use it to pick up our Awakening of the Crystal Ultimates, which we can actually use because we have Rainbow Dragon in our hand. We will reveal it, and we will send our Rainbow Bridge of Salvation to the graveyard. From that, we can go ahead and banish it to add a Crystal Beast as well as a field spell from our deck to our hand. We can then actually normal summon another Crystal Beast because of Rainbow Bridge of the Heart. That will be Sapphire Pegasus, and use its effect in order to place a Cobalt Eagle into our Spell and Trap zone. From there, we can just go, oh, it looks like I accidentally shuffled my graveyard back into my deck. From there, we can take very different routes depending on what turn you are in. If you're a first turn, you want to try and set up some negates. So at this point, what you can do is you can go for a Crystal Wing play. So we can synchro summon off of Pegasus and our Dice and go into a Hagoita. With Hagoita and Duke on the field, we can synchro summon them into a Crystal Wing. It is up to you what you want to do with them. If you want to place them in attack or defense, I recommend defense if you want to avoid the Lightning Storm. We can then banish Duke to bring back a Car Turbo, or we can actually go and bring back our Dice. We are not locked into anything, so we can make this play. Dice will target Terror Top and make it a level 2, and we can synchro summon our Cork Shooter, which we can then use its effect to bring back our Terror Top and Dice. Make Terror Top a level 7, or a 6 for a level 7 play. We can also, in this point, bring back our Hagoita, since we still have space for it. Keep in mind that we have had a few effects happen at this point. Every time an effect happens, Wolf Ryette will have a counter. From this, we have used Shooter, we have used Hugoita, we have used Dice, we have used Sapphire Pegasus. So at the very least, it has 3,700 attack points. One more and it will be 4,000, which means it can use its effect at any time. So we'll go ahead and make it a level 7 to Synchro Summon one of our clearing monsters. We'll go into Synchro Dragon, and then we can Synchro Summon into our Crystal Clearwing Synchro Dragon, which makes this a very, very strong board, especially once we pair it up with our Necro Valley. This is a very strong board that we can set up with this deck. So this is just one example of how strong of a board you can make with your Crystal Beasts added into this deck. So I do hope you guys enjoyed this past deck profile as well as some of these test hands, just to showcase what this deck is capable of doing with the Crystal Beasts and Wind Witches added to this deck. It is a very fun deck to play, and it is very difficult to predict as well as being very difficult to master. But I recommend that if you do want to play it, it is actually a relatively budget deck. You do not have to go for any of the expensive cards, most of which is Cashier Unicorn. You can simply substitute it for a Hasty Horse or a Butterfly. But other than that, or you can even use a Wandering Griffin Rider or a Harpy's Pet Dragon, Fearsome Fire Blast. Anything that can basically be special summon is something you want to run in this deck. But you also want to make sure it is a target for the small world. So that's just a few options that you can do, as well as the potential of this deck to play. I hope you enjoyed this deck profile as well as these test hands, and this is Danny Rod Gaming signing out.